Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we revisit Dangerous Liaisons. The classic 80s film starring Glenn Close and John Malkovich. So grab a quill and a lover and join us.
Welcome, everyone, to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
And we are revisiting Dangerous Liaisons, the 1988 film. Brian, I have to know. What were you? Where were you when you first saw Dangerous Liaisons?
I absolutely remember renting it in VHS. And I was actually excited to watch it because as I've said many times in this podcast, like, I was a kind of a weird kid. And I liked watching adult dramas and watching, like, this is like my first, like, period piece. This is like, the first time, and I was like, and it was, but it had sort of crossed over. It was like a moderate box office success. I knew the actors involved, like they were recognizable, and it was an American, or English production, or there weren't subtitles I'd have to read. So this was like kind of a very and I would imagine a lot of people felt the way I felt then. It was an accessible, big named costume period drama. And I vividly remember loving so much about this movie. Like the costumes, the colors, the intensity of the facial expressions. I loved Glenn Close. But I 100% vividly remember.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Really, really, really not liking John Malkovich. His character, his look, his face, his voice, his everything. I don't know if it was supposed to be designed that way, and it's great that we have a podcast like this where we do these revisits.
Sure.
But I just remember vividly struggling with him, which is unfortunate since he's 50% of the movie.
Yes, if not more.
If more. I guess like him and Glenn Close are like, the leads here. But how about you, Christina?
Well, this isn't the type of movie that I would have typically wanted to watch. This, I remember renting it with a friend of mine who wanted to see it. Okay. And I said, that's fine. It's fine. Working in a video store, you kind of run out of things to watch anyway. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. We'll do something like that. And it was typically like a movie night. I don't know if you did this in the past. Rented like 3 movies. Oh. Just ordered Chinese food or something. Just watched them.
Me and Julie McDonald.
Sure. Yeah. So this was one of those movies. Yeah. And, it was fine. I remember liking it, but also feeling... So I'll tell you some positives. I really enjoyed the Uma Thurman.
We're talking about then.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, this is then. I liked the Uma Thurman character. I did not like the Michelle Pfeiffer character. Like that whole arc, I didn't really like. And I remember even being confused as to why they are ruining people's lives over one night of sex. And I remember just waiting for something else to develop about that and thinking, there's got to be something more. Like, what is going on? But no, it was truly just about this having sex with Glenn Close's character was the prize. So after I watched it, I was like, yeah, it was fine. I felt like the story itself was a little bit weak. John Malkovich, I liked, didn't love. He was, a villain. And I did like Glenn Close in it a lot.
You did?
Yes.
You did like it?
Yes,
okay,
I did. What about now, Bri?
Yeah, so, what about now? Gosh, weirdly enough, I have to be honest, my notes are almost sort of the same. I think, though, that I kept up with the movie much better than I did when I was a teenager. Because like all the backstory, like, you know, Glenn Close's former not husband.
Yes. Former husband dumped her, but now has this very young girl, Uma Thurman, lined up to be his next wife or conquest. New
virgin bride,
convent.
She's but like that he wants like a virgin.
Yes,
and she is coming fresh from the convent, Uma Thurman, and Glenn Close is filled with rage for being dumped, but she doesn't spin it that way.
No, of course not.
It's not spun that way, but you really realize she is a sensitive soul through facial expressions, and she wants to ruin her ex-husband's life by ruining his bride-to-be.
Yes.
And what better way than to almost have a double drama where if she makes someone ruin this young girl's reputation, then she will have sex with him as the prize, like you said.
Yes.
And then, but there's a couple more layers to it, and there's this other woman, Madame de Tourvel, who was played by Michelle Pfeiffer. And I'm going to be really honest. So, I love Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, I really do. I love so many of her performances. I will say it again, like, even Deep End of the Ocean, and I think I've said this before, where the movie's not great, she's incredible. What Lies Beneath, she's brilliant in that. There's so many movies she's in where I'm like, she's just great.
Did you like her in White Oleander? Did you ever see that?
I liked her in that.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. And but she's had a lot of great films and stuff. But I want to be honest, like, I don't know why, but on these rewatches, and maybe I don't know why, but I always remembered her being better than she was. And I don't think this is necessarily Michelle Pfeiffer's fault, but in Dangerous Liaisons, I really didn't get her character. She seems like she is afraid of her own shadow. It's a bit unbelievable. Her naivete, I don't quite... I still don't quite get what she was drawn to.
There's no character development of that character at all.
You know that she is a religious... You said nun.
There's none.
Funny. She's basically a nun. I mean, she's a very religious woman and very careful because she is trying to break into this upper echelon, right? She's really behaving herself, and she's trying to get more people from the outer circle of wealth and power. But it's like she has the sort of stature and the sort of pedigree, if you will, and the reputation, but she doesn't have that extra, she doesn't have the money, she doesn't have that extra thing that's going to bring her into that world.
Right.
But unfortunately, it's really just not enough for this character. I mean, it's kind of a buzzkill, and not only that, and I'm sorry, I'm going on a tangent.
No, it's okay.
I'm going to jump right in. They finally have that sex scene, and I'm like, wait, what happened? Why is it suddenly Catwoman? She's like, I love you so much. Yes. It's like, wait, what? This is not the same character, and I don't want to hear like it was the throes of passion, but someone should have pulled back and said, this suddenly feels like a very contemporary sex scene,
right?
Like a post-coital,
here we go.
Like that post-coital scene between them. I felt like I was watching something from modern day sex, whatever, and I just didn't buy that it was even the same character.
No, she wouldn't have felt as comfortable.
She would have felt guilty as hell.
There would have been guilt, there would have been some shyness, there would have been some awkwardness.
Yes. What have I done? Not, I love you so much.
Right,
you know,
it's just
hey,
bizarre.
Sailor. Yeah, it's
the problem I had with Michelle in this role, and again, it could have just been the directing, it could have been whatever, but she went from zero expression to drama, and it didn't make any sense. Like, where's the build up? Like, there's no build up to that awkwardness or the uneasiness or the just that overwhelmed, like frazzled. Like, there's no build up to that.
Yeah.
It's just completely stoic,
yeah,
to complete unraveled.
Yeah. And I think, too, it's like, and listen, we've seen characters like this that are, like, neat as a pin, tight as can be. Like, you know, it's like that stuffy. It's almost like, really, like a lot of 80s movies where there's, like, the girl in the ponytail and glasses. And then suddenly she takes her glasses off and her ponytail comes down. She's a wild girl. Like,
right.
But this felt so wrong to me because I think even her behavior after having sex with John Malkovich is like, it's way too at the other end of the spectrum, and I didn't buy it.
And the other thing I didn't really buy was John Malkovich's character when speaking with Michelle Pfeiffer. It was like he was pretending to be like this schoolboy, and the way his expressions were very like, oh, I'm so innocent, and da-da-da-da. And it just didn't, it seemed like he was acting. So to me, I didn't understand how Michelle Pfeiffer's character didn't see that he was acting like this.
I would also say about John Malkovich's character, there were moments where he reminded me of Ducky from Pretty in Pink.
Oh my gosh.
Where he was just like fucking annoying. Like, back up. Like, because you're not, I've never seen that work in human life where if you just keep flirting with someone where you're eventually gonna win them over. It's like, no, when someone's flirting with you and you're not interested and you keep flirting, now I'm gonna throw up on you.
Well, how about this, Brian? I met you yesterday, and now I am madly in love with you. I can't live without you. Like, that's mentally unstable. I'm sorry. I don't want anything to do with someone who's going to talk to me like that.
That is a very good note. That is 100%. A very good note.
Yeah. And it happened, actually, with Uma Thurman and Keanu Reeves' characters as well, a little bit. They kind of immediately, like, looked at each other and said, oh, I love you.
Do you think... Because back then, so now I want to say...
It could be. I know what you're going to say, but yeah.
The book was written in 1782. Mm-hmm. People didn't live as long as we live today.
Right.
I would also say that communicating was much more complicated then as it is today. Do we think the reason why there were such intense declarations of love were because, hey, listen, we don't have much time. It takes me 2 weeks to get to Paris. You know, it's like...
There's no playing hard to get here.
And then, Christina, to your earlier point, this thought went through my mind. Like, when you're like, oh my god, like when you were talking about your then, and how, all they're doing is they're just trying to have sex with people? Like or
that's
sex is
literally
the reward.
all they're doing.
But what else are these people going to do in their lives?
They're bored. And I think that's the overall, that's what I took from it this time around when I was watching it. I'm like, okay, I get it. They're bored. And they have nothing else to do. They have all this money. They have nothing to do. And so why not just ruin people's lives? And the currency is sex. Yeah.
I have that same note, Christina. I wrote, I love the I love you declarations. With
oh my gosh.
Like a laugh.
The Malcolm one was the most disturbing one because he's trying to win her over by saying that he's madly in love with her. I don't know how anybody...
Wait, Malcolm...
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm calling him Malcolm. It's not Malcolm.
You call Michelle Pfeiffer Michelle.
Well, that's what I do.
Malcolm.
Well, their names are very difficult.
Valmont is John Malkovich.
I wrote them down because they're difficult. Right. Yes, Valmont. Belmont. If you will. Belmont. So that whole declaration was just unnerving.
Yeah.
Anybody that's going to tell you that they're in love with you the next day of knowing you and hello, he has this reputation of being a womanizer. She knows this already about him.
Yeah.
She knows that she shouldn't be talking to him. She doesn't want anything to do with him because she knows his reputation, and she has been warned about him. So, of course, the next day when he declares his love for her, why is that not a red flag? Like, obviously, he's playing you.
But she doesn't fall for it. She leaves the house.
No, she makes him leave the house, right? Doesn't she make him leave the house?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's his aunt's house.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so she doesn't, to be fair, she doesn't fall for it. She doesn't fall for it.
No, but he wants to be her friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me, there were a lot of issues, I think, just as a movie, that relationship and their banter, even for 1782.
Yes.
But I want to talk a little bit about, like, the lines, like, there was some really great dialogue. I did write some things. Like, I think Glenn Close says of Valmont, He never opens his mouth without first assessing what damage he can do.
Ooh.
I think Susie Kurtz, maybe Susie Kurtz said that. I love seeing her.
Oh my gosh, I was surprised to see her.
I kind of forgot she was in it.
I totally forgot she was in it, and I forgot that Keanu Reeves was in it. And he was... I didn't enjoy his performance at all.
Surf's up, madame. That's my note. I wrote cute. Oh my god, wait. What did I write? Cute as he is. Wait, what is this? Oh, damn it, I can't read it. Cute as he is. He sticks out like a city bus in a...
Oh my god! Right.
I don't even know what I wrote. I wrote, cute as he is, he sticks out like a city bus. Oh my god, that's right. That is exactly what I wrote. I wrote, as cute as he is, he sticks out like a city bus in this thing.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's very anachronistic. He doesn't fit, he doesn't look the part.
Out of all the actors in Hollywood, they chose him.
For this role. Now,
it didn't make any sense to me.
But also, at the end, when he's telling Michelle Pfeiffer what John Malkovich told him, they iced him out. They just played music over it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know why they did that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He just sounds like he just got off a surfboard. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Well, I want to say something really quick, so I know I'll forget it later. But this movie, I think, I want to credit myself, because even as a kid, as a teenager, I noticed this, and maybe the world did, since I noticed it so then. It's very nice how this starts with Glenn Close putting her makeup on, and it ends with her taking her makeup off. And I do think it's really beautifully done.
It is. At 100%.
Yeah. And it's to me, in like my middle-aged lens, was almost like it's like war paint in a way. Like she's wiping it off. Like she lost. I mean, she lost everything. She lost her reputation. She lost her best friend and her object of affection. Like she had feelings for Velmont.
Yeah.
And she's lost everything.
Well,
she lost her young lover.
She had that's what it was all about, is her feelings.
Yeah.
That her feelings got in the way, and that's what screwed everything up. If she had held up her end of the deal, then none of that would have happened.
There's a great line about John Malkovich says, "I thought betrayal was your favorite word." And she said, No, cruelty.
Oh.
I always felt it had a nobler ring to it. There's a great scene at the opera where Glenn Close is looking everywhere but at the opera. And and I love when she groans when Uma Thurman is singing.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. Glenn Close,
she's
the facial expressions.
She is so good in this movie.
She is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, I was saying her facial expressions. Because, it's so important to this kind of movie because you can't be mouthy. You can't be sassy in these times. And so you have to communicate a lot with facial expressions. I mean, there's scenes where Susie Kurtz is circling Glenn Close, and every time Susie's just out of eye range, Glenn Close makes a face. And the timing is just done. It's almost like a comedy. There's really parts in this that are just laugh out loud funny, and it's intentionally done, as a comedy. Yeah,
but I love Glenn Close in this. I missed her when she wasn't on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then she came back and I was all in. And then it would go to other scenes and it lost me a little bit. She's perfect in that expressing things without speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She has some great lines also. Another one is, I've always known I was born to dominate your sex and avenge my own. Win or die.
Love it.
And
she says to Uma Thurman's character when she's trying to convince her to be a whore, basically. She says, the shame and the pain. Wait, how does it say?
Yeah. The shame is like the pain. Yeah.
The shame is like the pain. You only feel it once.
Yeah. We have to talk about that scene.
That scene was disturbing back then and was still disturbing this time around.
Here's my take, though. Back then, being a teenager, I thought it was done comedically.
Oh wow! No, I never saw that.
Because he is saying he's
Which
saying
part with him holding her
my God, Christina,
mouth?
don't do this to me. I was
squeezing her body.
I was a teenager, and she was like, "Oh no! Oh no!" And then it's he's like, "Listen, I just want to talk." And as he's talking, his hand is running up her, but as a grown up, I'm like, oh my God, this is heinous.
Yeah.
This is awful. This is uncomfortable. I don't like this scene. I feel bad for Uma Thurman.
And
I feel bad
she's a virgin.
Right. Well, also, I actually felt bad for the actress. I actually felt bad for Uma Thurman in that. I'm like, this is gross. Like, what a gross... And, like, I don't know... Because I don't know if it's played as, like... This is hardly, like, a sexual assault scene. This is, like... It's like a forced seduction. I mean, it's like a forced... What I'm saying is, like... I don't know what the director's intention. It doesn't feel like it is a devastating moment for the character.
Right.
But when you're watching it on screen, it's rape. I mean, it's an awful...
It's absolutely rape. It's almost like a date rape, really.
Yeah.
But I think for the character, she's probably never made a decision on her own. She's so used to having adults make these decisions for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that she's in this moment where this guy is telling her to do this, and she's never had to say no. Like, it's almost impolite to say no to someone older and wiser or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not wiser, but older.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was where the struggle was.
Yeah.
It was almost like she felt almost like she was expected to, so she should, which is probably how she led her whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yes, it was disturbing. But I thought it was really funny. What I did remember a lot, it was when she started really liking it, and she's like, has those scenes with him, like, just liking sex now, and...
But I did think, like, what a weird message for any young woman watching this. Like, oh, yes, the man that sexually assaults you is, like, going to be, like, what you desire. But really, it's because of the coaching of Glenn Close.
Yes.
She's being groomed. She's truly being groomed.
Yes.
She's being groomed. And she ends up getting pregnant and the whole thing. But there's a line that John Malkovich has, because after he does this to Cecile is her name. Cecile.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, well, congratulates him. And he's like, oh, no, one does not applaud the tenor for clearing his throat.
Oh,
like, ugh.
I know. That was
so gross.
That was a tough line, yeah.
He has a good line, John Malkovich, when he says about Madame de Tourvel, Michelle Pfeiffer. He says, I love her, I hate her, my life is a misery. And Glenn Close yawns.
I loved that. I loved that yawn. I thought it was interesting that Glenn Close's character... I'm going to say her name. What's her name? Mertu?
That's why I'm not saying
Mertu?
her name. I don't know how to...
Mertu? Mertu?
Mertu?
Mertu? I'm going to say Mertu. I can't tell if it's a U or a V, but I'm going to say Mertu. She has so much control over Valmont.
Does she?
She really does, because he's doing all of these things for her. Mm-hmm. Everything that he's done, he's doing for her.
But he falls in
except for the falling in love part.
That wasn't part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But then even after that, he needed to do something else. He needed to break up with her because of her. I mean, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me, because if he's in love with Tourvel, why does he care if he wants to have sex with Mertu? Mertuvel. I'm going to say Glenn Close. So, if he's in love with Michelle Pfeiffer, why is he... Now, he just still wants to win.
Yeah, it's win or die. That's why.
It's just like that whole win thing.
Yeah. And when he does produce a note... No, wait. When does she say... Glenn Close says... I see she writes as poorly as she dresses. Oh my God. That's so evil. But I will say, Michelle Pfeiffer wears like a hoodie dress. Do you know that hoodie dress? I loved it.
I know.
I was like, that's
really
a cool dress. Yeah. She has, like, the dress has a hood. But it's not like Little Red Riding. It's not like a cloak. It's actually part of her dress. It was pretty cool. I wrote, I wish Michelle Pfeiffer and John Malkovich had more chemistry, which brings me to a fun fact.
Oh.
Michelle Pfeiffer, allegedly, Michelle Pfeiffer and John Malkovich had an affair during production that allegedly, I'm saying allegedly all over the place, ended his marriage with Glenn Headley.
Oh my gosh.
Glenn Headley from Dick Tracy and a bunch of other things. But yeah, and it's funny because I was like, wow, I find them to have no chemistry at all, and yet they were literally having an affair on the set.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why... I don't know. Maybe it like worked against them. Maybe there was that guilt and they couldn't really show all of that emotion because they felt so guilty about having this affair.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe.
Right?
Maybe, Christina.
I don't know. I have Michelle from 0 to torment in 5 seconds flat. And I think I gave her a few seconds leeway there.
Yep, let's see.
Vanity and happiness are incompatible.
Vanity and happiness. Yep, that's right. Yeah. Another one is, when they're talking about war, and she's like, all right, war. To Belmont.
Oh, yes.
They start fighting. She's Glenn Close she just acts people like off the screen. She's so damn good in this. I mean, it's a great role, of course.
Yes.
It's very, it's a great written, meaty role, but she's
what's
great.
Great is like she doesn't. Oh my god! I have in my
I passed it to you.
Speak.
That's how I started. So I do think that Keanu Reeves. So there's a point in the film where Keanu Reeves' character becomes romantically involved with Glenn Close's character, and I'm telling you this, then and now, it didn't work for me.
Me either.
It truly looks like he fell asleep on her, right? It doesn't look like passion. It doesn't look like he's like kissing her. It's like, what, did he just fall asleep on Glenn Close's breasts?
Well, I didn't understand that at all. Like, they didn't have any chemistry.
No,
none
chemistry at all.
It was awkward at best.
Yeah.
A lot has to do with him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But why would he even want him?
This woman.
Why would he want her? Why would she want him? Yeah. That whole part of it did not make any sense. It wasn't necessary.
Because Keanu Reeves' character also comes from a more working class, if you will, group of people.
Right.
So he doesn't really belong in this sphere.
Right.
So I don't know why Glenn Close is wasting her time with this kid.
I don't either. It tried to get
Malcolm
jealous again. Malcolm again. I'm just going to call him Malcolm.
Malcolm Jonovich.
There you go. Maybe to get him jealous, yeah. But yeah, with Glenn, what was interesting about her is I really don't even think that if we counted up the lines in this movie, she had that many lines, but so much of it was one words.
Yeah.
Or an expression, or a yawn, or whatever. And that's what makes it so good.
Mm-hmm. She's
so good in this.
I agree. And just even her jealousy, like her face when he talks about the feelings he's having for Madame de Tourvel, and just Glenn Close's face when she's realizing I'm losing my power,
yes.
and it's a cross between like losing her power and losing her really someone she has feelings for.
Yeah,
because they had a relationship earlier, and and clearly she's not quite over him.
Right, and how creepy. Just to go back to the Uma Thurman scene when they're talking and you find out that he also had sex with her mother. I mean, come on. Yeah. That was not necessary.
He tells Cecile that,
yes,
right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And why scene.
And it's so weird. Like, wouldn't that just like disturb Cecile?
She laughs.
She
thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah. It's
like, yikes.
Can I ask you a question? Do you find John Malkovich attractive?
I do not find him attractive. Yeah. I could see...
And I think this is a fair question. I'm not making fun of his looks. But he is supposed to be a sex magnet in this thing. And women are, like, really... He's very successful.
I have a note that says something like, everybody turns into, like, giggling little teenagers when he walks into the room. I think it's a combination of the power and his confidence.
Yeah.
So that can be very attractive to people.
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe it's his reputation, too, as this, like, Lothario. But,
yes.
But I do think it's frowned upon in that time. But maybe
he's unapologetic about it, too, though.
It's also that curiosity of, like, well, how good is he?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep. But, no, I personally don't think he's attractive. But I can see how people in that age were drawn to him because he was very unapologetic and he was just, this is who I am and I'm going to take you.
Mm-hmm. That was my stomach. Did you hear that?
I heard that. I wonder if it picked up on the recording. I will say at the end, when he's dying, he has like 20 lines of dialogue. And he speaks really well for someone about to die.
He also gives Keanu Reeves' character a lot to do.
Oh my gosh! Of all people, let's find anybody else.
The guy who just stabbed me, I'm going to ask him to do all...
Well, technically he stabbed himself.
Yeah, he did kind of
ran
walk
into the sword.
Yeah.
But yes, of all people to try to remember all that dialogue,
you're trusting Keanu Reeves?
No.
Good luck with that happening.
But that was like the most unbelievable scene in that whole movie. Is him. I mean, he barely was sweating, and he's like reciting line after line after line after line. I'm like, what are you doing? You're dying. And then, as soon as he's done,
dead.
As a door now.
Yeah. Also, how does one reproduce those letters to pass them out to everyone? Is Keanu Reeves handwriting all those letters over and over? Oh my gosh,
that's right. There's no copy machine.
Yeah, you're not going to Kinko's. Glenn Close, just a little interesting tidbit, because I was a bit fascinated by her performance in this. She said about the role of her character, she's a very modern woman. She's very modern, a highly intelligent woman, simply born in the wrong century. She had no outlet for her brilliance except for manipulation.
Interesting.
A little bit of trivia. Drew Barrymore auditioned for Cecile, and Sarah Jessica Parker turned it down.
Oh, I don't know. I think Drew would have been okay.
Yep, I think Sarah Jessica would have been wrong.
She would have been really bad, yeah.
Well, just like anachronistic. It would have been like Keanu Reeves. I could see Drew Barrymore being a good Cecile. I think Sarah Jessica Parker is just too modern. She's way too contemporary for Dangerous Liaisons.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know about you. I feel like I could take a little break.
Yes, let's take a little break. I'm not sure I have many more notes, but we'll take a little look and we'll be right back.
Cool.
Hey there, it's Brian and Christina. We just wanted to take this break to thank you for listening to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there.
And if you have any questions, comments, or observations, shoot us an email at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. Thanks for listening, and now, back to the show.
And we're back talking about Dangerous Liaisons.
Liaisons. With Mathieu de Vervamont, de Tourvel, de Balagens.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And Dancer. And Cecile.
And Glenn Close. So, Christina, any final notes? I have no other notes.
I don't have any notes either. Which is
more,
so strange.
So this is the big question. More, less, or about the same? Your enjoyment of this movie?
I have to say, I think I enjoyed it a little more, surprisingly enough.
Yep.
I think I understood a little bit more about what was going on. Mm-hmm. It wasn't truly just about the sex. Mm-hmm. It was about the power and the winning and all that fun stuff. The performances, I think I felt about the same as when I first saw it. So that didn't really change much. But I do think that I liked it a little bit more. Although I think I liked Glenn Close even more this time around.
Yeah. I think for me it's a little bit more, but just a little bit. I think Glenn Close is so much better than I even remembered. And I think it's really a performance you have to see. I mean, she was nominated for an Oscar, but I mean, like, it's just so good. And also, I did struggle with Michelle Pfeiffer's character, I think more than the acting of the character.
Sure.
But I think all in all, I think as an adult you can understand the, all the backstory about revenge and being left and, and then being jealous and all those emotions.
Well, even as an adult, I think you have more of an understanding about it. Like that motivation.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it when I was a teenager, so it's to watch it as a grown-up is more relatable to a degree.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say a little bit more. So, are we ready for questions?
I think we are.
All right, so do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Christina.
Yes.
Well, we all knew that Valmont is played by John Malkovich, or Malcolm Johnovich.
We're going to call him Malcolm.
He's a very active pen pal, but he's really He's a really gross pen pal.
Oh, how gross is he?
Thank you for asking. Along with a letter inside every envelope, you will also find a blank.
Oh, God. Wait. All right, I'm just going to do it.
All right, just do it.
I'm doing it.
All right. Let me write down mine. I know. I
You know
know.
what?
I know. I don't know
This
why.
happened last episode, too.
Okay.
My goodness.
All right, Belmont is a really gross pen pal, Christina.
How gross is he?
Inside every envelope, besides a letter, you'll also find a blank.
A sperm sample.
Oh my God. Gross. That's pretty gross.
It's gross.
That's pretty gross.
He's gross.
I went a bit more less gross
Okay.
and contemporary. I just wrote dick pic.
Perfect. I love it.
Oh
I love
my
that so
God.
much. That was a really good answer.
All right. How about
Okay,
your question?
I also have a match game question. This is the second time.
I know that we both.
This is our second episode of the
Our
third year. In both episodes, we both had match game
Yeah,
questions.
it's like,
so
what happened to
bizarre.
our FMKs?
I know, we haven't an FMK.
I know,
You know,
we haven't.
I'm going to work on an FMK
All right.
next time. Okay. So, Michelle Pfeiffer's character,
Yes.
Madame de Tourvel.
Yes.
I'm getting better now at the end of the episode. Is so dramatic.
No. How dramatic is she?
Thank you for asking. She's so dramatic that the last time she stubbed her toe, she blanked. Oh, yes. Okay, I love the music. This is a good addition to year 3.
Ready?
Yes, I don't know if you get it. I wrote it kind of small. I think you get it. Okay, so...
I changed mine at the last second.
Oh, boy.
So
Let's see
I
if
did
it's
not
any
go with
good.
my first instinct.
Oh, boy.
So we'll see how this goes.
All right. So, Madame de Tourvel is so dramatic. The last time she stubbed her toe, she...
Called 911.
Oh, not bad! Not bad! That's pretty dramatic.
That's pretty dramatic,
That's
yeah.
pretty dramatic. I said she cut off her foot. She was
I changed
so angry.
it. I changed it from fainting. I was writing
Oh,
fainting.
that's
Like,
good,
that's
yeah.
not super dramatic.
Honestly, she fainted at the drop of a hat anyway, didn't she? Like, that's just walking in a room for her.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, so funny. So funny. Good
So-
episode.
As they say in Dangerous Liaisons.
Oh boy.
Yeah, au revoir. And that is it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Old Roommates on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, and wherever you listen to podcasts. And give us a rating or review while you're there, please.
If you have an idea for the show or a suggestion or comment, you can email us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Old Roommates. This is Christina.
And this is Brian.
Thanks again for listening. Until next time.